What separates me from Adam the Woo and Jordan the Lion? What separates me from Adam the Woo and Jordan the Lion, and all of them, even Breck Roll to a certain degree, maybe Scott on Tape too, Grim Life, is I reveal my chip on my shoulder. I reveal the chip on my shoulder. Remember the werewolf movie? Well, got the next assignment, and we're headed off to drop off. It's not really Uber Eats or Postmates. I call it food for friends. So all you faggots out in Rand... All you faggots out in... All you faggots out in Round Rock. There we go. All you faggots out in Round Rock. You can't really hurt the show by giving bad mouth to it. So bad mouthing someone doesn't hurt them. It actually doesn't hurt them at all. There is no such thing as good publicity or bad publicity. There's only publicity. Publicity doesn't take a moral choice. So if you say this person is absolutely an idiot or this person's an absolute genius, it doesn't make the difference. Right? So you say Cole Spivey is a blank, whatever it may be, that's a publicist. So anyone can act as my publicist. All a publicist does is talk about their client all day long. I got a message. But that's all they do. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. They just make their client super famous. So this is a message about media. Andy Warhol was a failure. But he was only a failure at narrative. Now, was he rich? Yes, he was successful. Did he create trash in media and film? Yeah, he did. He was a failure at being a filmmaker. But his life was a beautiful narrative, right? His entire life lived over, his entire span of his life was his narrative. It's kind of going on still with Jordan the Lion and Adam the Woo and all that. Their narrative is in their life. It's in their day-to-day life over and over again. Are they failure filmmakers? Well, they're not Francis Ford Coppola. Adam the Woo is not Martin Scorsese. Jordan the Lion is not Spielberg, okay, or Quentin Tarantino. Their story is their narrative of their life, okay? This is my life. You're watching part of a narrative. Now, does it start off all Schindler's List and then you go to the next scene and the next scene all these people get killed and then there's a guy that helps people work? No, it's not told in that way completely. But you get bits and pieces of it and a pretty good cooking show. And not only that, you get information about Hollywood here and there. It's a different type of filmmaking. It's a different type of narrative. Some will argue, filmmaking? What are you talking about, filmmaking? I gotta check something real quick. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Hang on. Let's see something here. See, it's a different type of filmmaking. It's different. So there'll be arguments about a day-to-day vlogger. Their narrative is different. They're telling a different story. I've watched hundreds of Adam the Woo stuff. I know a lot about the man. But it's not the same way that you know about Travis Bickle or you know about Indiana Jones. right? Or Marty in Back to the Future. It's not the same type of narrative. Is he a star? I mean, kind of. Is he a celebrity? Yeah, he can go show up at a mall and get, rushed. He'll go up to a mall, there'll be thousands of people waiting for him to see him. Is he on the same level as like a movie star? Yeah, kind of. He won't end up with just a couple of million. He's got a couple million now. His net worth is about 2 million. He's going to end up with like probably 40, 50, maybe even a couple of billion. He'll probably have more than Seinfeld by the time this is over. And same with Jordan the Lion. These guys are the founders of a new type of media. You could say maybe cinema, but it's a new type of expressing a narrative. It's very important. If you're not watching these shows, you're missing out. The Please Subscribe show, it's kind of like a PSS, I love you kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's kind of like a Hedda, whatever her name is. The lady that went around Hollywood commenting on movie stars. Not Entertainment Tonight exactly, but there was a lady named Hedda, and she went around and she made comments about movie stars and other reporters. She even made comments about other producers, writers. She made comments about everyone. And guess what? She was the most powerful person in Hollywood. One thing about Andy Warhol, though. When Andy Warhol created the factory, he wanted to actually call it Hollywood. And the factory was in New York. It wasn't in Hollywood. Andy was in New York living a delusion.
Watch out, pothole on road ahead.
Yeah, I guess it's there. Not there, but it's probably there. Andy Warhol was living kind of a delusion and wanted to call the factory Hollywood. But he called it the factory instead. But he wanted to be kind of a filmmaker, and he couldn't really handle narrative. But what ended up happening is his whole life, from the first thing that he created to the soup labels for Campbell's soup, to everything that he did all the way to trash, right, became the narrative. Now you ask me, how in the world could you say that Andy Warhol was a failure and then go and say Andy Warhol was a success? Because you take everything too serious and logical. Stop making sense. Just like the film with the Talking Heads guy, David Byrne. Stop making sense, right? Andy Warhol was a failure. He was a success. And he was an artist. It doesn't matter. So what? Andy Warhol was an artist, but he did something with narrative because he started kind of what this whole vlogging thing has led to with the different films that he made. He was a genius, right? A genius will always be a failure and always be a success. They'll always be it. You are a genius. You are a failure, and you are a success. See that thing right there? That's God. He's under there in a submarine, and he's spying on you. So God's sending the report to the angels, and he's saying, Cole, what in the world are you doing? And I tell him, I don't know, but I have an inkling of understanding. Why is God in a submarine in the pond with a periscope spying on me? Because he has to send the information back to the angels. And the angels put it in like these old typewriters. And they put it in a fax machine. And they fax it back to like a network. It goes into a pipeline, gets on the internet. And now you're watching what God wants you to watch. These people are in ATVs playing golf and most likely smoking crack. These people are going to have trouble with their Social Security, like big time. Hey, do y'all know where the Social Security office is? Social Security? Well, they don't really know. But basically, oh, that's nice right there. Look at this. That is really nice. They probably don't know where the Social Security office is. But Biden does. Out in the Woo is going to drive to a spot near this area, and he's going to throw a dump in that Kim can. Then he's going to vlog this neighborhood. If the Kim can is not there, he'll take a dump in one of these backyards. Then he'll vlog this area and do a filming location of this road. If he's very lucky, the 7-Eleven will let him in, and he can take a dump there. When Adam the Woo gets here, this house will be abandoned, and he can walk through it with one of those cannons and look at the toilet. These people right here are going to buy this house right here. Then they're going to go broke and move to Colorado. They're going to smoke kush from marijuana. Then they're going to beg under a bridge. The wife most likely will starve to death under the bridge, and the husband will hang himself from a tree. True story. John Lennon lived in a Dakota, and David Bowie snorted stardust. All right, kids. We're looking for 3216, not too far from Stardust and Dakota. Don't ever snort stardust. And if you go to the Dakota, take some photos of it. That's where John Lennon was assassinated. And where Roman Polanski treaded along after Sharon Tate, or no, I think it was before Sharon Tate was killed. He went to the Dakota in New York and filmed a little movie called Rosemary's Baby, which is about a coven of witches. Then later on, both were killed. Not Roman Polanski, but John Lennon was killed and Sharon Tate was killed. Seemed like you follow the footsteps of Roman Polanski, you better watch out. But remember, the Nazis used him as target practice. They actually shot at him and used him for target practice. 3216, that's 3232. There it is, 3223, so we're headed in the right direction. Yeah, they actually took Roman Polanski aside, the Nazis did, and they said, it's going to be this one right here. They said, we're going to use you for target practice. And they shot stuff out of his hands, and that traumatized Roman Polanski.